guys, welcome back to SlayerS versus TSL. We've got Ryung versus JYP up here next. We've got some foreign fans in the audience. If you guys are in Korea, you should come down to Mukdong too. And if you're not in Korea and you're planning on going to Korea in the near future, you should come to Mukdong when you do. And if you aren't planning on coming to Korea in the near future, you should plan on it. It's a great place. How have you enjoyed Korea, actually, Unstable?
I haven't really had a chance to really see Korea yet because I've been working 24/7, but from what I have seen, it's really nice. But of course, we are going to have our next match coming up. I don't know. Of course, Xelnaga Caverns is the map.
So that is JYP's choice. A lot of pro wrestlers really like this map because you're very flexible in what builds you can do. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I think this matchup on this map is one of the most interesting and exciting ones because there's so many different things that can happen. There's so many different openers you can do, all sorts of transitions. The way that the map plays out, it's just such a good map. Yeah. I really love it.
I really want to see JYP's Blink Micro again. It was amazing last time we saw it. So let's see how Ryung stays up to it.
Let's see.
Too many R's.
Yeah, there are a lot of R's, man. JYP, will he tie it up? Putting TSL back in, or the SlayerS advance ahead, or I'm sorry, we're already tied up. Will we pull ahead? Will the other team pull ahead? Let's find out here at the GSTL. Down here,
go for it.
The bottom position, a member of the team SlayerS, he is
SlayerS, Ryung.
And at the top right, member of TSL, maybe named himself after an entertainment company here in Korea. I don't actually know.
TSL, JYP.
I want someone on Twitter to tell me this. That's why I keep saying I don't know. Mention me at FXO Wolf. Tell me what it is. TSL JYP. So there's a fan of him there. Sasquatch, I love you. I'm not entirely sure if that's a JYP nickname or if she's just trying to give a shout out to someone. He doesn't look like a Sasquatch, man.
I'm actually really glad they chose JYP for this matchup. Because he doesn't have the recognition and the respect that he deserves from what we've seen of him play. There is a chance, of course, now that we've said that, he's going to play a somewhat bad game and just make us look like fools.
But I assure you guys, if he plays bad here today, it's not his normal play. Yeah. He actually has shown us so many different things. I've seen replays of his from Battle.net. I've never personally played against him myself, but I've heard horror stories of other pro wrestlers playing PvP with this guy.
Yeah, and there we go. Pylon down behind the natural.
This is actually a really interesting strategy you see sometimes. You might just be putting that pylon down there to check for the CC, but a lot of times pro wrestlers will put a second gateway there and do some really, really early Zealot Stalker aggression reinforced from that gate. I was actually doing it during the PTR when they decreased the Stalker build time. I called it the Wolf Gate, and now it is henceforth known as the Wolf Gate.
Yeah.
On the internet because I said it. He actually hit that probe. I don't know.
Oh no, he's
got to have seen it. Yeah, that was a little weird. But he actually isn't acting like he's seen it. He's seen it, but he's seen it. You know what I mean?
No,
okay. Yeah. Now he's actually seen it. Okay. He's seen it, but he hasn't seen it.
Of course, JYP can't keep that probe alive for a little bit longer. But something that's got to be a big red flag here to Ryung is where is that second pylon?
Yeah. I'm not actually thinking anymore that he's gonna make a gateway there. I mean, he lost the probe. I don't even think he's gonna try to do a timing attack at that pylon. I think he just wants to spot with it.
Yeah, it's got quite a bit of chrono boost on his Nexus though, going straight down on that Stalker to chase out the SCV. He might be seeing. See, that's only the second pylon that Ryung has seen.
Yeah, he knows there's another pylon somewhere.
Yeah,
and he's gonna go and find it, or at least attempt to.
He's throwing down a bunker. But of course, he's going straight into a factory as well, so that's not really that big of a
pretty normal. He has got a reactor on his barracks. Don't be fooled, though. I don't think it'll be a reactor Hellion opening.
Yeah.
Only QXC does that and then says that he doesn't, but he actually does. And he's checking everywhere for that pylon, expects there to be a hidden Stargate. I'm telling you guys, if you're a Terran player, find out how many pylons are in your opponent's base. At that time, there should be 3. That's why he's checking everywhere. He's not just going, oh, I'm so good, I'm just going to scout everything. We're actually
going to see an expand coming out here from JYP.
We very well may.
Are.
There it is.
So he's actually played a bit of a mind game here with Ryung.
Yeah, his chrono boost has been stored up like crazy. He, of course, showed that there was a hidden pylon, and still is going to make that Nexus.
Well, from what I'm looking at it from Ryung's point of view, he didn't see that pylon. He saw a lot of chrono boost. He saw chrono boost going down on the Cyber Core as well. He also saw chrono boost on the Stalker to get rid of his Scout. That, to a Terran player, looks very fishy.
It does.
And then, of course, going straight into an expand.
Yeah, that forces the Terran to play a little defensively.
Yeah.
And then he gets the expansion up relatively safely. But a Banshee is on the way, and I think we're going to see Cloak. Can't say that for sure, though.
Yeah.
Nice Stalker micro here.
Yeah, and then on the right-hand side of the map, we're also seeing Ryung's SCVs pretty much scout everywhere except where that pylon is.
It's very true. You will eventually see it.
Yeah.
And we're not going to see Cloak. So it looks like he's just going to use that Banshee, do a little bit of harass, get a little bit of scouting.
But all this SCV is going to be able to see this expansion if he goes a little bit closer. There we go, so he knows what's going on now. But it comes down to, he saw that really late. The Robo is going down as well now to deal with any kind of cloak Banshees. Of course, we know that's not happening.
These SCVs trying, or Marines trying to come out here. Nice little force field block by JYP.
Some kind of soft contain here as well.
Yeah, there's only 2 units at the bottom of the ramp, and so Ryung doesn't really know that.
Oh, as we say that, here come more sentries.
It takes about 4 to 6 sentries to really be able to force field this continuously. You don't have to force field continuously, but if you wanted to, it takes about 4 to 6. So he's got 4 out now.
Well, if he's paying attention, he shouldn't have to use as many force fields.
Exactly.
To constantly drop that off. Of course, the Banshee is about to come into the natural here.
Even an SCV to repair.
There is that one sentry. He's going to have to warp in some Stalkers if he needs to. There we go, going straight into the main.
This is a great way to deal with this type of contain, because if your opponent's warping in a lot of units at the front of your base, and he doesn't have units to warp in at his, of course, own base, the Stalkers will chase this Banshee out, though. Won't be able to kill it.
The Observer's coming out as well, just in case it has Cloak.
Yep.
And it looks like JYP's just backing up. Oh, there we go. There's a Banshee just coming to pick off these sentries.
This is not good. Banshees can kill so many sentries, they just don't do enough damage. And this Stalker almost walked into siege tanks, but then backed away at the last second. JYP is so brave. Bringing some SCVs to come with this attack.
Yeah, I think he realized he's just too far.
He's just capitalizing on the fact that his opponent has played relatively risky, made too many sentries, and sentries, they don't do well against siege tanks, tank mode or siege mode.
No, we
either way.
We do have an Immortal on the way here, but he's got to realize that this is coming. Hasn't seen the SCVs yet, I don't think. But
here's the thing about the Immortal.
Yeah.
Everything's going to die before that Immortal can really come into play, and SCVs are just going to target it, Marines are going to target it. That Immortal not going to be very helpful. These force fields might.
He just needs to buy time for his extra units and more warp gates to come on cooldown. There we go, forcing him back. Just every second he makes right now is going to help him, as we do see a second Immortal on the way to help deal with those tanks. But he needs to be careful. Force field that off and back off.
Guardian Shield's going up here. And like I said, there's just not enough units. Like the Immortal can't even hit the tanks. It doesn't even participate in this fight. And this is going to be the end for JYP.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't actually just pull back and buy more time. He's trying to deal with these. The Banshees are what's doing a lot of damage here as well.
Yeah. He wanted to keep the Nexus, but in this situation, you just can't.
No.
Banshee's being repaired by the SCVs.
Well, he's going to have that second Immortal now, just getting that 4th warp gate. He does have a little bit of money here, but he's lost that Nexus. That's going to be a huge blow. At the same time, we still don't see a command center being... Oh, he's actually...
You guys will get a shot in a second. He's warping in units at the natural up for Young to cut off reinforcements, but...
Banshee in the main
mineral
line.
Banshee at the main is going to...
Oh, he's actually pulled all his Stalkers, and now the Immortals are stuck at the front. Nothing to defend them from this Banshee. He does clean the one up behind his mineral line, but now he's got these units coming up the ramp. He's also sending his Zealots and Stalker up the ramp for Ryung, but he's going to be ready for that because there is already a tank on the way. It's going to be very, very difficult for him to hold this. He does have the production facilities, but he just doesn't have the money at the moment to deal with it. Siege mode is at the bottom of the ramp.
He's supply blocked. His pylons are finishing up here. He's going to want to warp in a few more units, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Siege mode is done. Yeah. There goes the Robo. A ton of Marines still left here, and the units at the front of his base have been mostly cleaned up.
There's a lot of Zealots going into the main here for Young, though. He's going to do just as much damage back, but there's 3 Banshees in the main.
Yeah, they're just cleaning up the Stalkers. He's just actually going to target the Stalkers down. When you have that many Banshees, it just doesn't matter. And that's going to be it.
He did try his best to do a counterattack, but really, if he just kept those at home...
Actually, there's still not a whole lot left there at home for Ryung. It's kind of a tense spot for him. He has to defend with SCVs. If you're defending with SCVs,
but those tanks are now in range of all these gateways. He's only got 1 gateway powered. The Cyber Core is going to go down. I'm pretty sure that's in range of the Nexus as well. And it's just too much stuff. He's going to lose his base. Yeah,
I mean, he's got these Zealots in here. A Banshee will come out soon, and when it does, that's going to stop everything. He can also just go home with this attack if he wants to defend. And these Zealots do end up falling. The Stalker will fall as well, and it looks like Ryung takes the game GG. And takes the lead for SlayerS.
Interesting choice by JYP.
Yeah, his build was good.
He had to expect some kind of just semi-ult in there.
When you expand, and your opponent is teching, the Sentry Contain is not the way to go. Because he's got a Medivacs, he's got the ability to make Medivacs already from the start, right? For one. So he can, of course, just ferry units out if he wants to. He's got Banshees, you're making a lot of sentries. Then how are you going to deal with the Banshees? Then when the siege tanks come, how are you going to deal with those?
He could have been banking on the fact that there was a command center being built in there, but it just wasn't at all, so he had that extra production to go through with it.
It was a great decision by Ryung to just say, I'm not going to make a command center because you're playing this style, and I can do a timing attack and end you. And so he did. Boxer giving him some pep talk here. It's a secret. Everyone's getting whole like whispering. Trying to like hear what they're saying, but they can't. Toss it so quietly. It's a complete secret. And there's Coach Lee talking to the killer himself. I'm not sure what we're gonna see out of TSL in this next set.
They've got 2 more players to send out. It's not all over for them yet. It's got a lot of time to come back. They've really got quite a few. Like they've got lots of players left that can do a lot of damage here. As long as they can figure out how to take out Ryung, they've got just so many options. So it's difficult to know which way they'd go.
I'm just trying to think what I would do. Like, what would Wolf do? There's like 3 W's in that. It's like a website. WW. All right. Anyway, seriously, I think I would probably send out Killer and then Clyde. That's what I would do.
Not playing Puma?
I'm sorry. Said that completely wrong. I would send out Clyde and then Puma. I don't know why I said Killer at all. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Because you lost to Protoss. Is your Protoss going to be able to beat everyone else in SlayerS after that? Like, their Protosses aren't that strong. Even though he says Protosses he thought were better, I don't think that he could send, a Killer's not going to be able to do a whole lot, like, in the later stages of this. I don't think.
Well, that being said, from what I understood from that interview, of course it was translated, I think he said his Protoss lineup is better than the SlayerS Protoss lineup.
Right.
So it's not really that
indicative of like how good their Protosses are in general.
But yeah, I think their options right now are, of course, Gentleman as their final closer, and then either Clyde or Killer coming out now. That is the 2 options that I would put on. Coming from the SlayerS point of view, that's what they're thinking as well. So they're going to be... They've got more options at the moment, though. They are leading 2-1. They've got to lose at least 3 games in a row. They're still very safe. Yep. Here we go. Let's find out who it's next going to be.
Yep, absolutely. Almost absolutely Clyde or Killer here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking it might be Clyde. Well. Oh. I'm not sure if I agree with this choice, man. It is going to be Killer, though. And, I got to say, picking Killer last game would have been a good choice, just as picking JYP was a good choice.
Yeah.
But their Protosses, in my opinion, are not strong enough to deal with... Like, if Clyde wins this game, like, his TVT isn't that strong, but his other matchups are, so when he wins...
You mean Killer?
No, I'm talking about Clyde now.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they pick Clyde instead of Killer, then if he won this match, then he would have had, his other matchups a little better. I feel like Killer's all-around matchups aren't as good, so if he wins this game, sure, that's fine, but then he's most likely going to lose either the next game or the game after that. Well, so it's not good for, the long run,
you can think about that, but you also have to think about you need to take out this player to even yourself up. Because you're forcing another reaction by SlayerS.
If you lose with Clyde, then what happens? It's a bigger risk. Both options, I think, are valid. I'm just telling you my opinion. Like, I would have put out Clyde probably in this situation. But Killer is a strong player, and I think that he can absolutely win this game. What happens next, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm thinking too much into this unstable.
Well,
they drank half of those Gatorades. I know, so already. There were 4 there, but that half was gone.
Yeah. There's a lot of different options. You have to think about it that way, because you've got however many players on the team to take out theirs, and then you've got to go through every single option. There's so many different possibilities, and you have to prepare for every single one.
Yeah, you have to prepare for every possibility.
But we'll see how Killer goes. I think he's going to have to take a little bit of time setting up, because that last game was pretty quick. But he definitely does have the ability to take out Ryung here. So
I think, the map is going to be Tal'Darim. Anything could happen. Killer, a player known to play longer games in this matchup. He doesn't normally do the Void Ray all-ins. You don't normally see Void Ray all-ins on this map in particular, but he's not known for doing the Void Ray all-ins, doing the 5-gate, all in off of one base, into the, of course, attacking someone who went for a fast expand. He's not known for doing stuff like that. He's known for his great late game, his storms, his zealot splitting, and stuff like that. Just having a good job. And when I say zealot splitting, I mean zealots in front of the stalkers, because I can't tell you how many pros I've watched who don't do that. There's too many. Just like kick the table. Like,
She's
so
that
mad about
angry.
it. Those processes put your stalkers and your zealots on a different hotkey, or at least like control click those zealots and put them at the front and then attack. Come on.
Yeah. But Tal'Darim's a good choice, I think.
Yeah, a lot of pros like to pick this map against Terrans. The architecture is pretty fair, I guess you could say, for both races, but you do see in the late game, Terrans kind of struggling sometimes with that really weakened big bio ball, and they're trying to run around the map with the storms going off everywhere. There's a lot of open areas, there's a lot of places to hide your Templar.
And when it gets to that point, you've also got a lot of gateways on the Protoss side, so you can reinforce or at least slow down any kind of drop
I
or
was
attack.
watching Slog play today. In one game, he had like 30 gateways, and I thought he was going to lose the game because I just walked up and I didn't know how many gateways he had. His whole army is dead. Then he just made like 2 more armies, and a few presses of the button. He's just spamming his mouse. There's like all these zealots appearing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be the scariest thing ever if you're a Terran army? You're like, all of your units are kind of weak on hit points, but you crush through a Protoss army, and like a new one just warps up, like not like kind of far away you see it. It's like warping next to you. You're like, oh my god, there's 3 zealots warping next to me.
That is one of the benefits of that late game Protoss style that we see a lot in this matchup too, though. So it's either way. A lot of Terrans have difficulty dealing with tech switches as well, going from Colossus back into High Templar and switching back and forth.
The scariest thing is if you make too many Vikings, and then your opponent just stops making Colossi.
Yeah.
Because then, especially in a max versus max situation, because then you have all this supply and these Vikings that you're not really using. You've got like 12 Vikings out or something, you're like, and then one storm goes off and it almost kills all of them anyway, so you can't even land them because they clump up so bad.
Or if there's just one Colossus left and they all bunch up to kill that one and a storm drops right on you.
I've seen a lot of that. We could see some nukes, though. That seems to be the trend right now. I actually have seen some of our Terran players, Moonin and Quixie, using a little bit more Ghost in their own play recently. And
Well, it has been proven to be effective recently in the TSL.
It really has.
So
if you go for the cloak, which is a little weird, that can work in kind of a ironic way where if you just don't have a robo, then it's bad. But then also you have the ability to EMP. It's just such a good build.
yeah.
Yoda changed the game. It's a Jedi Master of StarCraft.
That's going to happen a lot, though, in the next
Yeah,
few
just
months.
wait, guys. Like, we don't even know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, it takes someone like Yoda or whoever to come in and change it a little bit, see how it works. If it does work, it changes everything.
Yeah, just wait until you guys see the new one-base carrier builds that are coming out. I actually went into the future and I took a look at those. I'm actually going to change the game. Imagine if you went back in time and played the beta, knowing everything that we know now, before the patches came in and everything, how many tournaments you could win, how much money you could make. It's like going back in time and taking like the World Book of Records and like the almanacs and just like betting on everything. It's just like that, except it's for StarCraft. But the reason we're just talking about so much random stuff, guys, is because I think we have a technical difficulty. Neither of the players have jumped
it's
into
not
the
a
game.
difficulty. It does take a little bit of time to set your stuff up.
Yeah.
And they usually do it during the game. Usually the teams will pick their next player and get them to go set up so you don't have as much downtime in between games. But that last one was really quick.
It was. That was a pretty quick game. To put it bluntly, it didn't go as JYP planned.
No. Well, thinking back, he didn't expect him to bring all the SCVs. He expected a command center to be made. That's what it was. He
Especially
defended the
when
Banshee fine.
Yeah, you see the no cloak on the Banshee, and then you only see one Banshee. If you see 2, that's when you know.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, there's 2 Banshees. I think he might do a timing attack. But if you only see 1, you're not really sure. And he did the contain, and he thought he was good. And then the Banshee came out, and I don't know. I really personally think that you should never do that contain when your opponent's teching.
Well, not only that, he did send a lot of units. Like, there was a lot of zealots down in the main for Young. He just couldn't do much there. If he'd had them in his main, it would have been able to soak a lot more fire for those stalkers to be able to get those Banshees down.
Yeah.
Zealots attacking the Marines, soaking a lot of the tank fire as well. So it's very difficult to say how it would have went. But
in general, guys, if you're a Protoss, or I'm actually talking to those people who aren't Protoss, if you have a Nexus up and your opponent does a one-base timing attack like that on a smaller map or a 2-player map, it is almost impossible to hold with the Nexus. So it's not like JYP dealt with this badly or it was just a build order loss. It's just so difficult to stop if you make any sort of mistakes or you make a robo bay at the wrong time and you don't have those monies, or if you warp in 3 units at the front of your opponent's base, that can happen. And there's our girl player. There's a lot of cheers coming from the crowd. Can't imagine why.
Of course, wearing the medic suit that we saw SlayerS Jessica wearing a few weeks ago in their first match versus MVP. Because Boxer was her Marine and she's the medic.
Yeah, that's what she told us, man. She told us to say that. It's true. She's a Boxer, Marine, me is medic.
But yeah, so Killer versus Ryung. I don't think I've personally seen them play each other before.
I don't think I have either.
Well, there goes my idea on what to talk about.
It's a large map.
Yeah.
Obviously. It's a large map. I'm just telling you guys stuff. Today is Thursday.
Yeah. So we just got confirmation. It is the players setting up still, so we were right. It's all good. Yeah, like you were saying, it's a very large map.
It's a large map. Lots of things happen on this map in this matchup. You have the long game. There's like 5 different variations of TVP on this map.
Yeah.
The first one is the Terran goes for like a 1 barracks expand because it's a big map and he thinks it's fine, and then someone does like the genius 5 gate all in, and it either ends the game one way or the other. The Terran dies or the Terran lives, and then the game ends. Then there's the tech build that the Terran does, which kind of gets a little funky on this map. There's that variation that I don't want to get all the way into. Then there's the like 1 gate Nexus versus the 1 barracks expand into like who takes the third base, when does the dropship tech come out. That game, I think that's the type of game we're going to see.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, there's the 2 base timing attack Protoss build, like the +2 armor with Guardian Shield Charge Zealot timing attack. There's like all these different games. Those are kind of, all the TVPs on this map kind of fit into one of those molds. And then I think what we're going to see is like the 1 gate versus the 1 barracks expands, and then the longer game, and then maybe like 5 or 6 bases and nukes and crazy battles in the middle with storms.
You don't really see them as often as you do the timing attacks coming in from Protoss just recently, because it's a lot harder for them at the moment just to keep up in the macro. And it's a very, including the drops, a lot of the Protoss that I've seen play, they have a hard time giving the Terrans something to think about other than just their macro. There's nothing to worry about. You can just do whatever
you can't
he
really
wants.
harass.
Yeah. When on the other hand, the Terran can always just keep sending dropships. So always being in the mind of the Protoss, not giving him a chance to just sit down and think about exactly what he's doing. So that's why we don't really see that as often. But I really do like seeing the very late game in TVP. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
Yeah.
People used to always joke with me saying, like, the High Templar versus Ghost battle was like a draw in an old Western. It's like, do you feedback him before he EMPs you?
Yeah.
And it's like this little battle that goes on, and sometimes you see the Ghost come out by itself and the Templar come out, and they stare at each other. The one feedbacks, or at least he wanted to, but he got EMP'd just a second before.
Something's going on.
Something's going on. I don't know. This is the second time this has happened without me knowing.
Happening a lot today.
I don't know. I'm sure the Korean commentators said something that was like a joke or funny, and the crowd liked it, and we don't know.
But
they're filling time, we're filling time.
Yeah. You also see the positions where you have those cloaked ghosts trying to come in and EMP the Templars first, and then you've got the Observer that can counter that, and then you've got the Protoss who actually split their High Templars, and then it's frustrating for the Terran at the same time.
And you see the one Templar that comes forward first to storm part of the army, so it's okay if he loses it.
Yeah.
And then you see like the 3 Mirars that come forward, and that Templar like tries to storm them, and then they like dodge the storm, and then the Templar's like, no! So then like 3 Zealots run forward, and then eventually the armies get closer and closer together, and then they fight.
Yeah. Looks like something's going
Yeah, something's wrong with the computer, most likely.
That's right.
Or not wrong with the computer, but like his mouse driver isn't working or something like that.
Yeah. But something that I've seen a lot more common recently on the Korean ladder is getting a lot of ghosts in late game. Like, more than you could really use for EMP, but they snipe the Zealots, and they just disappear.
They do. That's actually something that a lot of Koreans have been doing.
Yeah.
And we've even seen players like QXC starting to adapt that as well. Where you literally get like 15 ghosts in the late game, and then
just EMP everything.
You can only do it when you're ahead, generally speaking.
Or if you're actively trying to save your ghosts.
Yeah. Okay,
that's awesome.
What did I just hear in my ear? Tomorrow is pizza day here at Mukdong, so if you come to the studio tomorrow, you get free pizza. Everyone who comes to the studio gets free pizza. Everyone. Bring everyone, tell your friends. Gama's like, I can't believe Wolf just started talking about this, now we're not going to have enough pizza. Gama's going to actually have to bring like 3 trucks of pizza. Well, I was going to come to the studio tomorrow, now I'm like, there's going to be so many people.
No, you didn't have a choice to
come
in. You had to come regardless. I was going to drag you because we have our match tomorrow.
Oh yeah, that's right. I actually, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like a player for MXO. I'm like, oh, is it worth it for me to come for the pizza? No, I'm actually going to be here. I keep thinking that we're one day behind. I feel like today's Wednesday, but it's not.
Looks like we're ready to go.
Yeah, I think we're finally ready. But seriously, tomorrow's pizza day. And like I started screaming and talking about, all the foreign fans looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
So Tal'Darim Altar is going to be our map here. And Killer, he looks a little nervous, but he's not one to be nervous. He actually played a ton in Brood War, like a ton. And he's been on the stage so many times. We'll see though. The map is loaded.
Something that's really frustrating, because I've been in those booths helping our players set up, because you got both the earbuds and the Banshee headset, the cables are everywhere.
That's true.
You have to find a place where it's very comfortable, but it looks like we're going into the game. Let's find out who can take this one down. Can we tie it up again to TSL, or will Ryung increase SlayerS